Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Musician from Hits Academy, a newsletter, coaching service, podcast, and blog preparing today's musicians for tomorrow's realities. Today's episode is titled Prince on Striking Gold. Thank you to Parker Mouthpieces for providing the hosting for TEM. Parker Mouthpieces offers fine, customizable component mouthpieces for horn, trombone, euphonium, and tuba, including the Andrew Hitz Artist Model Tuba Mouthpiece. You can find out more at parkermouthpieces.com or follow them on Facebook and Instagram. The TEM coaching newsletter from Hits Academy can be found at tem.fm/newsletter. You will see a lot of back issues there where I share an awful lot of links and things that have interested me and have helped me on my entrepreneurial musical journey. So go ahead and sign up for that if you would like to receive those, and you can unsubscribe at any time. Prince on Striking Gold. This week's episode was inspired by not one, but two quotes that I read from the legendary Prince. The first one is, "The grind is real. There are no shortcuts. But what's the alternative? Don't quit 1 meter before you strike gold. Keep moving forward and creating the life of your dreams." Let's unpack this just a little bit. I absolutely detest the toxic grind culture on social media. It glorifies working for 20 hours a day and not eating right and sleeping like crap, or at least it glorifies ignoring all of those things while focusing on just outworking, out hustle. That's the word they use, out hustling everyone else. As a side note, a lot of the worst offenders of this on social media are total frauds. They talk about owning a $200,000 car before they can legally drink, and in actuality, they spent $500 to rent the car for 2 hours so they could pose with it in front of a mansion that is also not theirs. In my experience, the people who are bragging the loudest about, quote, the grind are grinding away at exactly one thing and one thing only, and that's promoting themselves. That's it. They have no actual output that helps the world at all, and that includes musicians. It's all highly staged and it's all smoke and mirrors. Don't fall for those people. Their lives are not, well, the lives that they present online are not real. Prince used to famously have recording sessions in the middle of the night and for hours on end. When inspiration would hit him, he would have his manager get the musicians he wanted to work with on the phone and have them show up at like 2 or 3 in the morning. The stories are wild. He produced some amazing art this way. Prince died in 2016, which was well into the era of selfies and self-promotion online. Did you ever see Prince posting selfies of himself saying things like grinding away at 3 a.m. in the studio? Hell no, you didn't. So when he talks about the grind, I believe he is just talking about all of the work that goes into allowing the creativity to flow, and all of that work over a prolonged period of time, not the bastardization of that term that exists today. The gold in this quote, for me, is don't quit 1 meter before you strike gold. First of all, I love an American using the metric system because it is far superior. But this quote is directly in line with Seth Godin's wonderful book, The Dip. Quitting is great. I can only imagine the sheer number of songs that Prince started that never became anywhere close to something that you and I would ever hear. Knowing a little about his creative output and his methods, my guess is that that number is literally in the thousands of ideas that started becoming songs that just never saw the light of day. So it's not about not quitting, because if he had finished every single one of those, then we would not have heard a lot of the songs which are classics today, because he wouldn't have even had time to write them. It's not about not quitting, it's about not quitting at the wrong time. So if you start a YouTube channel and then you quit after you make 10 videos because you only have 7 subscribers, that's dumb. Of course you only have 7 subscribers. You've only made 10 videos. The problem is you have spent the time to set up the channel and to figure out what you're calling it and to plan out the 10 videos and record them and edit them and upload each of them. The list goes on and on. The problem is that you only have to name the channel once, and you only have to set up the channel once, and you only have to get into a groove on how to start and close the videos once. So you just spent all of that time doing those things and then abandoned them before 99.9999% of the world would have ever even had the slightest chance of having success. This is why we have to be super thoughtful about what we start in the first place. And we then need to have the discipline to not quit just before we strike gold. This is the hard part for everyone. And if you can figure this out, you have a huge leg up on the vast majority of your competition. Lastly, I love the words keep moving forward, and I love the word create in respect to the life of your dreams. Keep moving forward is specifically talking about taking actions, and challenging you to create the life of your dreams is the opposite of waiting for the life of your dreams to materialize in front of you. Great things in life rarely happen for us when we are passive. It's just not how the world works. So thank you to Prince for this call to action. I found it very inspiring. And this week's quote is from Prince. He's enough of a badass that I decided that he gets 2 quotes this week. I make the rules, so I get to break them. The second quote is, I like constructive criticism from smart people. There's 2 things that I love about this quote. The first is that even the creative force that was Prince remained teachable. His creative output combined with his commercial success meant that he absolutely could have gotten away with not being teachable and not trying to learn from anyone at all. But he was open to new information in spite of being such a superstar, and that is really admirable. The second thing about this quote that I like is the qualifier at the end, from smart people. I feel like I've been hitting this point pretty hard lately, but don't listen to criticism from anyone you wouldn't seek out advice from. He even used the adjective constructive in the first part of the quote to qualify the criticism. Obviously, mean-spirited or just plain incorrect criticism needs to be ignored, but so does constructive criticism, i.e. someone trying to be helpful when they don't know what they're talking about. This is not said to be mean or to put anyone down. It is said to remind you and myself that we should only act on criticism from smart people, and that only includes people who are specifically smart about the subject matter at hand. So thank you to Prince for these important reminders. Remain teachable and lean into constructive criticism, but only from smart people with expertise in that area. Thank you so much for listening, for subscribing either to the podcast in your favorite podcast app or to the YouTube channel. And I just really appreciate you listening to my voice. I know I tend to say this a lot, but you have an awful lot of choices of things to be able to spend your time with online. And the fact that you are listening to, if 5 people were listening to this, it would blow me away. And the fact that it's way more than that is really humbling. So thank you very much to each and every one of you. And that is going to do it for another episode of The Entrepreneurial Musician.